UFC Fight Night Hernandez versus Dolidze is going down this weekend, and today I'm going over my unofficial early predictions on the whole entire card. This is before I do film, and this seems like a straight-up card. Now, this card's on my birthday, which is cool, but it just seems so straight up. Like, every favorite I feel like is going to win. That's how I look at it, but we'll see what happens, okay? First fight up, Uros versus Gilbert Urbina. Man, there's some fighters that not the best, and, they just don't seem to put it together. Medic is a guy I believed in, man, really. And I still believe in him, man, because his striking is so fun to watch. Like, he's a southpaw, it's just beautiful striking. I really enjoy one of my favorite, underappreciated, underrated strikers to watch. I think I like him more because I'm a southpaw, he's a southpaw, and he's explosive, he's long, he sets up his shots, his feints are extremely good. I really enjoy watching Uros Medic every single time he fights. Knockouts, this guy's must-see TV in my opinion, especially against strikers. He's always going to go out there and put on a good show. Fight versus Matthew Semmelsberger, one of the most underrated fights. I love that fight. Great scrap, just a scrap, man. Semi the Jedi, miss him, man. He was a fun fighter to watch when he was in his prime, man. But the Medic fight was so exciting to watch. Medic has got a disgusting right hook. Lead right hook is nasty. I mean, he'll drop that on you. I remember in the fight versus because I watch Medic quite a bit. Where is it? Omar Morales, right? He dropped that right hook at the end of the first round, just disgusting. Like, you couldn't even see it. Like, it was so quick. Timing was nasty. And then he dropped that left hand, that left straight, and those are his best weapons: the left straight and the right hook. The left straight, he'll go to the body, and he explodes into these shots. He hits hard, man, and you can see it. 8 knockouts for him. I'm glazing a little bit, but I just love me some of the doctor, man. I wish he, wouldn't have sold me last time out, because I think that he's much better than Punahele Soriano. Like, I really firmly believe that, and sucks that he didn't beat him, but I would still pick him to beat him pretty much every single time. And he just got caught, and that's something that he does struggle with. His defensive striking backing up is not the best, but he doesn't put his hands up all the time. I think he just got caught, and it happens. But he's so fun to watch, man. I really enjoy watching him. He's taking on Gilbert Urbina. Gilbert Urbina, he's long, he's big for the division. His striking's not great. He's got a nice front kick up the middle. His wrestling is probably the way that he would win this fight. I don't think it's good enough for him to take over the fight. His only win is versus Orion Koseki, whatever that guy's name is, and that guy's horrible. That guy's like 5'7" welterweight. Look, man, Urbina, sloppy, a little bit sloppy boxing, long for the weight class, not much pop in his shots, and been knocked out before. Been knocked out by Trayshawn Gore, knocked out by Radke. I think that Medic is going to knock him out, and probably something you'll see in my betting guide when I post the betting guide, whenever that is, Thursday or Friday, whenever. Because I do believe that Medic getting a KO here is very likely. So I think that Medic gets a finish here. I'm going to say round 2 KO for Uros Medic for my early prediction. And let's move on to the next one, Jocelyn Edwards, Priscilla Cachoeira. I think Edwards wins this fight. Not going to go into too much detail on that. We'll talk about women's fights a little bit more in the breakdown, the official breakdown. I just have such a hard time getting them right, man. I don't, whatever. Elijah Smith, Toshiomi Kazama. Kazama, man, this guy, he's not great, He's probably a big underdog here, I would expect. Plus 375, but I did bet him in his last fight, and that's because Charalampos Grigori is just not a minus whatever he was. I think he was minus 250. Not a minus 250 fighter. And no, Kazama had been knocked out by Garrett Armfield. He'd been knocked out by Rinya Nakamura in those past 2 fights. Get him at a big underdog price versus a guy who's not very good. And he goes out and wins that fight. Now, the adjustment I liked that he made in that fight was he immediately went to his grappling as opposed of trying to stand and try to mix it in, because he really cannot do that at a high rate. Like, his striking defense is really bad. He doesn't move his head. It's definitely something to be worried about, for sure, especially in this matchup where I do feel like he's going to struggle to get takedowns here. Elijah Smith, on the other hand, very athletic, explosive, fast, extremely young. I'm not as big on Elijah Smith as other people are, but I think he's a work in progress. I think his boxing is a little bit sloppy, and I will say he's powerful, pretty explosive, but I'm not sold on his striking quite yet. But like I said, man, still very young. I think he's got a hell of potential, honestly, and I think he's going to win this fight by KO. I think Kazama's going to have a tough time getting him down. Elijah Smith, his wrestling looks really good, actually. His submission defense against Vince Morales looked pretty good, and we saw Raul Rosas get put in some hard positions versus Morales, who's pretty tricky on the mat. So I like Elijah Smith here. I think that he'll get a knockout and highlight reel knockout. It should be a good one. I like Elijah Smith. I think he's still a development, though. But I like him by KO here. So let's move on to the next one, where we got Gabriela Fernandez. I don't even know who this is. I'm going with Gabriela Fernandez. Next fight, Julius Walker, Raffael Cerqueira. I actually, think, I don't know why, man. I just believe in that Cerqueira. Like, when I watched his tape, he wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? And now he comes in the UFC, gets knocked out cold by Ibo Aslan, where I picked him. Then he gets knocked out cold by Modestas Bukauskas. And now I'm like, okay, this guy's not great. But this is a different matchup now. Julius Walker is not a striker like those guys. He's a grappler pretty much. And 26 years old, I believe he's the youngest light heavyweight in the promotion. Looked pretty solid. I still think he's another guy who's a work in progress. Definitely not like a really high-level fighter yet. But his grappling looks good. Physical, strong, pretty athletic. You know, he's a former hooper, so I got to show him some respect there. I think I beat him one-on-one, though. But, you know, I think that he should probably beat Cerqueira. But I just, you know, I always hesitate on these kind of lines where he is minus 600 when we haven't really seen Cerqueira grapple a whole lot, right? These fights are so hard to find. And from what I remember from these fights, like, he's an explosive guy. He's powerful, but he always had issues letting his hands go. And you could see immediately, like, this guy gets put on the back foot by these bigger guys and gets knocked out stiff. So Cerqueira's been highlight reel knocked out twice in a row. I don't think he'll get highlight reel knocked out here. And I honestly don't know because, like, have we seen his wrestling? Trains with Gelton Almeida. I imagine, like, honestly, on the feet, I don't want to say Cerqueira's better, but his technique is probably better. I think he hits harder. But if Walker can get to that clinch position, I can't even believe I'm arguing that I might pick Cerqueira, especially because I picked him against Aslan and I was thinking about picking him versus Bukauskas. So it's a big concern that I'm even thinking about picking him. But stylistically, we don't exactly know. So I say at minus 600, I'm not really sure I want to play that personally, just because I do think Cerqueira might have an advantage on the feet. And we haven't really seen his wrestling or jiu-jitsu tested at all, really. So I don't know how good it is. And although Walker, close fight with Menefield, he didn't get any takedowns there. And I think Menefield's actually got really good takedown defense, but Walker still didn't really get a lot going. I thought Menefield won that fight clearly by the way. But, you know, I'm going to pick Walker for now. But when I deep dive into this fight, I am curious to see what I see. So I'm going to go with Walker. I'm going to go by a decision, and we'll move on to the next one, where we have Andre Fili versus Christian Rodriguez. Now, Christian Rodriguez is still a guy I believe in, man. He's one of those guys that he doesn't seem like he is a 45er, man. Like, you just watch him, he looks like he's a 35er, honestly. And he's 5'7", 71-inch reach. Like, he's much smaller than Andre Fili. And you could see it in the Arosa fight, and I know Arosa's big. But, I mean, C-Rod looked tiny. Really, he really did. And I do think that, man, I'm surprised 82% are picking C-Rod. But, man, Fili looked so shit in his last fight, and I picked him. I thought he was going to knock Melquizael Costa out. He didn't get anything going, and he threw himself into a guillotine. I was really disappointed, honestly, in that performance. And if that's what it is, I think C-Rod might be able to take you down, man, honestly, because, I thought Fili looked really bad there. Now, Fili's an interesting striker. I've always thought of him as, like, not the best striker, kind of overrated when it comes to his striking, and he's long, he's powerful, but 35 years old here, C-Rod should be able to take him down, and C-Rod's a tough guy. This isn't a prospect, though. You know, that's like that TikTok brain rot. He only beats prospects, which is kind of true, but I got to trust C-Rod here. At minus 220, it's something I'm probably not going to play once again, but it's interesting. I I got to rewatch how C-Rod was able get on the inside, because I do think that Fili manages his distance relatively better than a guy like Julian Erosa. It's something I'm going to look at, but for now, I think that Christian Rodriguez can probably maybe grapple a little bit here and get the win over Fili. Mix it up. Good cardio, good volume. Obviously, his takedown defense is really good as well. So I'm going to go with C-Rod, but another guy who disappointed me. Both these guys lost to Melchiel Costa. I thought that C-Rod was going to beat Costa, but it is what it is, man. I'm going with C-Rod by a decision, and we'll move on to the main card, the first fight. Gene Matsumoto taking on Miles Johns. Now, I know a lot of people were upset at the decision in the last fight versus Rob Font, and I don't know if I bet Matsumoto. I don't think I did. I thought it was a close fight, man. You know, these fights can go either way. Kind of like the Whitaker one, just a close fight. And I bet on Whitaker. I'm starting to employ that mindset inside of my head. Like, these fights are close. And yeah, that was a close fight. I definitely picked Matsumoto, but damn tight fight there. You know, Gene, I think he's good, but he's a little bit overrated in my opinion. And the reason I say that, I think he's really hittable. And for a guy like Miles Johns, no, he can't keep up with the volume of Gene Matsumoto. Absolutely not. Miles Johns has no volume, and it's definitely a concern. Now, where I think Johns could potentially have some success if he's able to land some of his shots, because we've seen how hittable Matsumoto is. He's a guy who doesn't move his head all that much. And, you know, he's not like Felipe Lima in the sense that Lima's bouncing in and out with footwork. Matsumoto's going to throw a lot of volume. And 100% he can out-volume Miles Johns. And I'm picking him to win. But Miles Johns, I'll give him this. He does hit hard. He hits pretty hard. But Miles Johns is also a guy I'm not huge on. I think he's got really an overhand right in his arsenal, and that's about it. You know, I thought that I picked Douglas Silva de Andrade to beat him. And I just don't think Johns is able to keep up with the volume here. If he can land a good shot and hurt Matsumoto, maybe. And finish him, potentially. Don't think he'll be able to take him down. So if it's on the feet, I think Matsumoto is going to light him up, honestly, with volume. So at minus 275, I think it's worth a shot, honestly. We'll see. I gotta go back and watch. But that's a fight I'll watch soon so I can get a bet on it, because I do believe that Matsumoto will rise a little bit, especially thinking about it now. Johns kind of has to land that shot or he'll get outworked 100%. So I'm going to go with Gene Matsumoto. I want to say by decision. And let's move on to the next fight. Oh, boy. Yasmin Lucindo, Angela Hill. I'm going to go Angela Hill by split decision. Let's move on. Eryk Anders versus Christian Leroy Duncan. What a shit fight, man. Honestly. Eryk Anders, I just don't know what we're doing here. Why is this a fight? This is a horrible matchup. I don't care what anybody says. He's on a 2-fight win streak against who? Jamie Pickett and Chris Weidman. Christian Leroy Duncan isn't a great fighter, but his losses are coming to, I believe, Petrosian and RoboCop, I think. Dude lost to Petrosian, man. Duncan should win this fight, man. If he loses, what a shame. Takedown defense is probably good enough to stop Eryk Anders' takedowns. Light him up on the feet, man. Anders is old. This should be an easy win for CLD. Like, I don't know why they're giving him 2 layups in a row. You know, how old is he? Okay, he's only 30, I guess. But, yeah, man, this is a kind of a stupid, pointless matchup, in my opinion. I don't really like the fight at all. I'm going to pick Christian Leroy Duncan. I think he gets a finish here over Eryk Anders. And let's move on to the next fight. Steven Erceg versus Ode Osbourne. You know, shout out to Ode Osbourne for taking the opportunity, man. Stepping up, I guess. I kind of wish it was someone else, but whatever. Osbourne, he's pretty fast, pretty explosive. That's about it. Striking defense is off. Not good. And I think he's going to have to knock out Steve Erceg, which I just don't see happening. I think Erceg's going to dominate him, honestly. And I think at minus 400, you're looking at a good number. Really. I mean, what are we doing here? Ode Osbourne has been choked out. Look at this. Like, bro, and Rodriguez about to choke him out on his back, too. Erceg can grapple here. I don't know if he will. We haven't really seen a whole lot of it. Whole lot of his grappling. He's a better grappler, one. And Ode is just kind of not great, man. Yeah, man, I don't know what we're doing here. I think Steve Erceg should be minus 15,000, honestly. Better striker, better kicks. He's just a better fighter. and Osbourne is pretty much bottom of the barrel. He's got a win over Luis Gurule, which I was refreshed to see. And I want to say big shout out to Ode Osbourne for knocking that guy out, bro, because that guy is Sean Strickland, man, of fucking flyweight. Like, that guy is so boring to watch, and I'm very happy that Ode Osbourne knocked him out. But this is a huge step up in competition, man. I'm going Steve Erceg, get back on the winning track here. Damn, he's already 30? I thought he was younger. Give me Steve Erceg, man. Let's get him back on the winning train here. I think he beats Ode Osbourne. I want to say by a rear naked choke. Let's get that on. Let's move on to the next fight. Wow, I don't know what just happened. The main event, Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Hernandez. And I've shit on Roman Dolidze in the past, and I will stand by this. I think he's one of the worst ranked fighters in the UFC. I don't know if it's just because I'm a person who likes to watch. I don't know. I just watch Roman Dolidze. He's slow as shit. He's no athleticism whatsoever. His striking technique is shit. He's just not good. He's just big. He's just big, and he's not a good fighter, man. I really think he's one of the worst ranked. I don't know what ranking he is. He's probably like number 8 right now. I think he's one of the worst ranked fighters. But he's getting these matchups that are relatively favorable for him. We've seen this guy scramble on the mat, and it's ridiculous. Like, when Roman Dolidze was doing that to Hermanson, it was kind of like a shock to me. I just didn't even, this guy, wrapped up his leg in like a calf slicer and took his back from the position. Just crazy nonsense stuff that I never imagined Roman Dolidze had in his bag, honestly. And it was wild. And I don't know if he probably can do that to Fluffy, man. Like, people forget, this is a close fight versus All In, man. I picked All In Allen there, and that was a close, tight fight. Now, this is 5 rounds, though. So, I think Hernandez should strike with him on the feet, and I think he's going to be able to do that. You know, Dolidze is not some killer on the feet. He really isn't. I think, honestly, Dolidze might be able to have some success within the clinch position because Roman Dolidze's got a pretty solid clinch. He's strong. He's physical. So he might be able to stop Hernandez from pushing him against the fence and bullying him, essentially. But it's 5 rounds, man. That's just Brendan Allen was able to keep it close in 3 rounds. If that was a 5-round fight, Fluffy would have killed him. But a 3-round fight kept it close. This is 5. Roman Dolidze's not got a great gas tank. You could see him fade in every single fight pretty much. I mean, like the Vettori fight, sure. I think Vittori's fading and Vittori's just not good. This is an interesting one, man, because I can see a side in a world why people are picking Roman Dolidze, but I don't know. It's just a weird fight, honestly. Weird matchup. I think Fluffy kind of just outworks him a little bit. It's hard to really give you guys a prediction on this one because it's such an interesting matchup. It's not like Fluffy can do whatever he wants to him on the ground. I don't know, right? I just don't know. I'm going to go with Hernandez. I think he's younger. I think he's got better endurance. I think he's not in a lot of danger on the feet, where he typically is in danger on the feet, gets teed off kind of. I think that he's not in that much danger on the feet in front of these guys like Michel Pereira or Brendan Allen, right, or Roman Kopylov. Dolidze is not as good of a striker as any of those guys, personally, I think. It's a weird fight, man. I don't like the number, personally. I don't really think he should be minus 340. He opened at 170. But I do like Fluffy Hernandez to kind of drown Roman Dolidze a little bit, and probably a really boring decision. I think this card's pretty ass. And I'm recording this on fight night, the 2nd of August, so I'm really excited for the card that they got coming up. But yeah, man, that's going to wrap it up for me. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.